And ladies and gentlemen, we are live and welcome to Elder League week number 9. We're starting off the day with Team World Class versus Tweltch level Intellects. I'm your caster today, Eric Desarox Beltran, followed by my co-caster, Rudy. How you doing today?
Oh, it's gonna be a beautiful day on the Rift, Desarox. I can feel it in my bones.
Good. It's the best place to feel it. We do have to apologize for a little bit of a late start, but Colorcasters, am I right? Rudy e-subbing in on the desk rather than on a team? So grateful for you, man.
Oh yeah, no worries, mate. Happy to be here.
Yeah, so to fill in what's going on right now, Tweltch level Intellects and Team World Class are tied. As you can see on the screen, 11-5 apiece. They're looking to fight over the third place seed. As you know, higher seeding means a little bit of an easier road to get towards that finals area. But we will start off with the game in just a second. Teams are getting ready, and we'll be all set.
And it's been a long, hard fight to get to this finals here, so we're expecting some big things, some flashy plays, and a lot of good fighting.
Yeah, always. It's Elder League. Either we'll get some skilled play every now and then we'll get some interesting plays.
I live for those interesting plays.
They jump back and forth, gold and platinum. Sometimes it's a miracle, sometimes it's awesome, sometimes it's just a fun little fiesta. Regardless, we are going to get into the champion select right now. Tweltch level Intellects versus Team World Class, starting off with the draft phase.
Already starting off with that Kindred ban. Really trying to put aside some jungler presence that's been showing up so much in the Rift lately.
Yeah, going straight for the jungler is Team World Class. Meanwhile, Tweltch level Intellects going for the Gnar. Target out Mercy Hawk. Nothing too out of the ordinary coming out just yet. Really a lot of priority bans coming in rather than meta bans.
Yeah, it's interesting. And we'll probably see the junglers picking up something, either a comfort pick or maybe something more along the lines of a Dark Harvest pick that have been getting more and more into the meta ever since that Electrocute nerf. Is definitely a possibility.
Yeah, indeed. And we're on a fresh new patch right now. 8.18 is live. So we are going to see some changes here and there. You know, Aatrox, Akali, Braum, Kai'Sa. Quite a few changes going all around the map.
Alright, so they are picking up that Irelia first off. She's a pretty good pick in the top lane, kind of safe. She does get bullied out by other top laners nowadays, but if you are comfortable with her, she's still a pretty strong pick. Also with her ultimate, making it so that people can't auto attack. If you manage to get that side onto like their AD carry or onto a melee carry, if they end up picking something like that for their jungler, it can be really a really big detriment to the enemy team going into those fights.
Yeah, meanwhile, the Kai'Sa picked up. The Kai'Sa was one of those champions that received a nerf recently, mostly towards her late game through her passive, but still quite potent, but also very ballsy to pick it on the very first rotation, as well as Akali being picked up as well. She also received a nerf recently.
Well, Kai'Sa still has a lot of damage. She still has that repositioning with her ultimate that's pretty much instant. She has that long range poke. She's all in all a pretty safe champion to pick once you get past her relatively low range compared to other AD carries on the field.
Yeah, meanwhile on the side of Team World Class, they go for the Lucian. As well as the Zyra picked up. Lucian, Zyra, that's a pretty deadly combination to have. Lucian, mid-game spiking, usually starts putting out damage with the first buy of the Blade of the Rune King. Zyra, just a pest to deal with, great at zoning and great at crowd control in general.
Yeah, and Zyra is one of those supports where, similar to Brand, which was banned out by the opposing team, is just one of those supports that just has so much base damage and scales really, really well. It will be interesting if she doesn't have the highest damage in the game on her team, instead of, I'm gonna say, at least second, maybe most damage on her team.
Dang. This is an ambitious way to throw it out. But we are getting into the second phase of ban. Sion, Cho'Gath, Morgana, and Graves all removed off the map. Now it's in Tweltch level Intellects' hands to go with the first pick of the rotation. They still have possibly their mid laner up. The Kali can flex towards top and mid. It's only time will tell with this pick.
Now, the Cho'Gath and Sion bans are interesting to me because unless Irelia gets flexed to mid lane, they already see the opposing top lane. So maybe they were expecting a Cho'Gath mid lane. I don't know, but is that a hovering Teemo?
I just realized I completely missed the Ornn pick. That's most likely their top laner. And Akali in the mid. So they're actually saving their support pick for the final pick? That seems a little unorthodox unless they're looking to flex the Ornn.
I can assure you I have no idea. But Poppy is picked up. Poppy can be flexed to jungle, or to top lane and put Irelia mid with the Gragas in the jungle. Really beefy characters coming out of what was that team?
If we're looking at the blue side, that is Team World Class.
At a Team World Class, you have a really beefy team coming out with two main damage dealers in the Zyra and Lucian. Irelia is a fighter, so she deals a lot of damage while getting a bit tanky. And then Poppy is a bruiser. Gragas is a bruiser who can be flexed into a fighter. But meanwhile, on the opposing side, they have a much more front line, back line sort of setup. But they also have a really strong team fight that can transfer into a really strong split push. They do have the Udyr, they do have the Akali, who are relatively strong split pushers. Udyr, a very strong split pusher, actually able to solo towers later on in the game, even without minions.
Yeah, and of course, having that Lulu means that Kai'Sa has quite a bit of survivability working for her, especially when that killer instinct comes to play. And just making it to the late game as Kai'Sa feels so rewarding, feels so good when that damage starts to pump out. So it's gotta be on the side of Team World Class to look to shut down that bottom lane, look to shut down that Akali early, and then just try and exponentiate from there, especially because you have a Lucian as well as an Irelia.
So when we're looking at the various forms of engage here, Ornn has the longest range engage in the game. So they have a very strong engage coming out on red side, very reliable form of engage coming out on red side, but they also have, excuse me, they also have counter engage. Lulu, her ultimate will beef up whoever they manage to engage, whoever they manage to pile onto, because they have Poppy, they have Gragas, Irelia. They're going to be dashing into people, they're going to be trying to get on top of people, and Lulu can beef that person up and at the same time knocking up the opposing blue side. Akali, Kai'Sa, they're all very slippery. Really the only sort of person who's out of the mix here is the Udyr. Udyr has problems getting past the kiting, he has problems getting past walls, but all in all, I don't think that's going to show a huge problem for the team of red side. Meanwhile, on the side of blue side, you have the Gragas. He has great early ganks. They only scale better into the game. He does have the potential to save the opposing team, sort of using his own ultimate to blast them away. But with good placement, he can also scatter the opponents and manage to make it so that a team fight turns into like a 3v1, a 3v2, a 4v2. Instead of a 5v5, it might turn into like a 5v3, a 5v2 for just a couple of seconds. But those couple of seconds are really all you need in order to blow somebody up and really turn the tides to your favor. Lucian, compared to other AD carries, he has a lot of upfront-ish kind of damage. It is kind of damage over time, but he just outputs it so incredibly fast that it's more front-loaded than it is over time. However, because of that, he kind of lacks the high-end bar of what other AD carries' damage outputs are capable of. Carries like Tristana, carries like Kog'Maw, and even still Kai'Sa is probably still higher than Lucian. But we see on the side of blue side, they have a lot of engage, a lot of control. Zyra for counter engage, Irelia engages, Gragas engages, Poppy can disengage with her ultimate. She also engages, she also engage in stopping opponents' dashes, which may come into play if she gets on top of the not be able to activate the second form of his ultimate, Call of the Forge God.
Yeah, so a great amount of analysis coming through, but we are going to take a short break and we return as we get through this load screen. Tweltch level intellects, team world class, tied, fighting for third place. Who's going to win? Find out when we return. And we are back, ladies and gentlemen. Sorry for the delay. Riot Games, technical difficulty, spectator client, fix it! But we're getting into this right now. Tweltch level Intellects, team world class, tied for 3rd place. They're taking this match on, and a flash coming out of Reese's Cup already. He gets tagged, Ignite's gonna take him down, and luckily we get into this game in time for first blood. And yeah, that was quite a smooth first blood to come out of Margarine. Played it quite well, didn't even need a follow up on the dash, just gets the pick, lets the Ignite do the work, and that puts 12th level Intellects in the lead early. Still though, only first blood, nothing to really be too afraid of. Now we are seeing a roam come up towards the top, makes it 1-1 apiece, tying up the kills. And now a little bit of a pincer movement coming out. Not really going to get pincered on towards the jungle change. Running away from the Gragas. As I get this back into order. You see Change wants to get that steal. Instead, he wants to actually go in for the fight. Scuttle Crab went over to the side of Team World Class, and Change has nothing else to do but just walk away with his tail between his legs.
Yeah, that's the approach problem that has plagued Udyr for ever since his creation, actually. Ever since he joined the League of Legends. People are just able to walk away from him until he gets those later ranks of bear stance, which really ramp up his move speed.
Yeah, it takes a while to get there, as well as, you know, some boots. A good old Trinity Force. Not sure if Udyr's still built that. I haven't seen one in quite some time.
That depends on if he wants to go solo carry or actually play a team game.
Yeah, I suppose so. You got to start racking up those kills if you want to go to the Trinity Force build. Only time will tell on that one. And so far, quite an even game between two teams who are tied up in the standings, really looking like they're tied up.
Looks like something's about to happen. So, so Straight Up Merkin placed a ward on the Udyr's on Change's blue buff. Looks like he might be going to steal that later on, or at least pressure it later on. But other than that, it's just so that he knows when it's taken, when he's in the bottom jungle, so that he can let his team know to be safe.
Yeah, that information is
Merkin's blue buff right now.
Yeah, and he's doing it quite fearlessly. Bear stance, moving him all over the place. Tiger stance, destroying the blue buff in a timely manner. And Change, he gets it without Straight Up Merkin even knowing that it's missing.
Well, there were a few pings down. Possibly they thought something might be going on there. But he managed to take 2 camps and just walk free out of there. Oh man, that scuttle spawning in the top side as well. Just so much going to Change. Looks like Mercy is actually heading down to check things out.
Yeah, Mercy Hawk not going to be able to do anything about that. Change picks it up with relative ease, and just look at the CS differential between the junglers at the moment. Straight Up Merkin's starting to struggle, and he doesn't even really know it because Change has just been all over the place.
Yeah, and going off of that, there's a big CS difference showing up in the mid lane too. That first blood actually coming in pretty hard for Margarine over Reese's Cup. And up in the top lane, we're seeing, I'm sorry, there's a fight going on in the mid lane.
Taking the bait, Marjorie takes a lot of damage, but still able to get the kill on Reese's Cup. Goes down, a martyr shut down, but doesn't matter, went even regardless.
Well, I don't know about the doesn't matter, went even. It is shutdown gold going on to Straight Up, going on to Merkin. And there is a gold increase for getting kills when you have an assist versus getting a kill as a solo person. There's that whole assist gold that's going up in smoke if you get it just solo.
Yeah.
all in all, we're seeing only about a 100 gold difference between the teams, which is pretty much just that extra 100 gold from First Blood at this point.
About getting that shutdown gold for straight up Merkin is it actually puts him at about 200 CS lead, not CS, sorry, gold lead against his counterpart Change, who's been on fire with the counter jungling.
Yeah, and that's when you realize you're getting out jungled, you just have to either put down some vision to keep track of your opponent, or you go make plays in lanes. And Merkin is just showing that he knows what he's doing when he's coming to these lanes for ganks. He's got 100% kill participation right now.
Oh, but now Reese's Cup. Margarine taking a bite out of him. Change showing that he too knows the way of the gank. And that just puts him ever so slightly behind straight up Merkin.
Now, we're seeing Red Side showing a lot of control around these scuttles. Change is always on the side of the map where they are, and they're even translating this into an early Cloud Drake. Now, Cloud Drake, in my opinion, is probably the most underrated dragon out of all of them. People don't realize just how much that extra movement speed translates to rotating around the map, being where you need to be, when you need to be there, especially for junglers. And especially after it got its buff so long ago to have in-combat move speed as well as out-of-combat move speed, it's definitely a dragon not as useless as people are imagining.
Yeah, gets you the lane faster, especially if you're in Udyr. You're having a good time with this in your bear stance, so can underrate.
Oh, absolutely, and that will help him even getting into onto the people he needs to get to, considering he has trouble with kiting.
Yeah, so now this game still around even territory, slight advantage towards Tweltch level Intellects, and a little bit of a skirmish going down on this bot side. Ichi-Rat and Professor Chaos exchanging blows every now and then, but overall Professor Chaos is getting the better of it as he does have a CS lead, almost has that Blade of the Rune King, but meanwhile up in the top lane, out goes Call of the Forge God. Straight up Merkin trying to play defense as he gets a huge body slam in, able to protect his teammate, possibly take down Change in the exchange, and now Tej on the run, the counter gank ever so successful from straight up Merkin as he continues the aggression and takes down Tej.
Merkin managed to get that power spike in his runic echoes, and he's really showing it that being a part of all those kills has really gotten his gold monster.
Meanwhile, over here on the bot side, Ichi-Rat, Professor Chaos going at it. Out goes the Wild Growth. A lot of damage from the Colin landing onto Ichi-Rat, but he's going to be able to survive for now. EMS on the hunt, doesn't get the grasping roots. EMS wants to get the kill. Stopwatch having to go off. This is a bad spot for EMS 360 as he's able to return fire, take down Ichi-Rat, and get out alive. Misplay coming out from Ichi-Rat.
Ichi-Rat tried to get the kill on Lucian with his long-range W, but unfortunately, Professor Chaos saw that and sidestepped it, albeit he was missing a part of his ultimate doing so. But what we saw coming out of EMS right there was just a really good portrayal of knowing enemy cooldowns. Using that stopwatch there, for any other period of time, that was pretty much tantamount to suicide. But because that particular ability was down and all the other ones are close range and would have to get into pretty dangerous territory, he managed to eke out a kill onto Ichi-Rat, who was still out for blood. He thought he could get something.
Yeah, and really, it was the time to back off. HP too low, EMS needs to land just one more Q and finds it. So overall, this game now starting to go towards Team World Class, and you do see the strengths of that Lucian Zyra lane coming together as the damage is not only on the Lucian, it's on the Zyra as well. It's something you got to respect. But speaking of respect, Change is looking to get some respect as he goes on the attack, trying to catch up Professor Chaos. Cannot tag him with the bear slap. Has to back off instead after getting punished by EMS 360 and Professor Chaos.
Now that's that Cloud Drake movement speed coming through. If Change did not manage to get off of that EMS ultimate, that would have probably been a very dead Change. But he managed to run straight down and get out of that circle, which saved his life, I do believe.
Yeah, so it's always the small things that keep you alive. All but taken for granted until it does save you. On that note, that's another attempt coming out of Change to find no success. We all saw the last one. He gave up a kill, make that 2 with Tej going down with them. Change needs to make something happen on this map for his team. Otherwise, it's going to go up in smoke pretty quickly. And he does set his sights towards straight up Merkin, who chunks out nearly half of his health. And
Merkin doesn't want to really touch it because Akali is just so scary at this point in time. She has her Gunblade finished, and without clear to kill Margarine, without it being a 1-for-1, or kill her fast enough that Change just doesn't show up and start cleaning them up. Meanwhile, in the top lane, we're seeing Poppy-Ornn matchup. The Poppy definitely has it in her favor. However, she's not stopping the Ornn from farming Tej. There's only about a 13 CS difference right there, which is not a huge thing, especially when you're talking about tanks and bruisers. Between those two, it essentially becomes a wet noodle fight, and nobody's going to die until someone intervenes.
And speaking of intervening, yeah, there we go. Straight up Merkin looking to get onto the gank of Tej, but he gets under his tower in time. Has no problem. No body slam going to land there, but look at the response coming out of Change. He realizes his opportunity. The junglers in the top side starts to set up for that Infernal. But here comes Reese's Cup, delivering a lot of damage. Change has to flash away. Reese's Cup can't get the finish. Yes, he can. Fortunately enough, the Ignite was enough to kill him off. And now Margarine, almost in a bad situation there, has to back off towards the tower, which is leaving priority to Team World Class to take this Infernal Drake.
That was well played by Reese's Cup. Despite being so far behind, he had his power spike, he's got the Triforce, and he had vision of Change. So he managed to lay down the ambush, getting that stun, getting the reset, using that reset to just apply so much damage all at once, getting his ultimate out there, slowing down Change, making it so that Change can't fight him back after he ran through it. And good job, Mercy, stopping Tej from getting that secondary part of his ultimate.
Yeah, playing a very dangerous game there, but ultimately gets out alive. And that does show you the power of Ornn. He is known to be a bit of a lane bully despite being a tank. Quite a lot of CC to work with. The clap, Call of the Forge God, the knockup that comes from the pillar being up and dashing into it. Not a fun time to have to duel, but...
Also all of that percent health damage. But if I may interject here for just a moment, Change is taking a very fast Rift Herald, trying to make up for the Fire Drake that he lost down in the bottom side. This might translate to a First Blood Tower here in the mid lane, or they might run down after a gank down on bottom side and use it down there. Hard to say.
Margarine's taking a very sneaky route, so they might be going after this bot side. Professor Chaos completely oblivious to this itchy rat going forward. Out goes the teleport. Professor Chaos trying to flash away. Too much damage coming in. The heal will keep him alive. Stunned against the wall. Knocked up. Down goes Margarine. And they make it a 1-for-1 despite committing so many resources towards this bot side. Team World Class, though, they seem like they want to go for more because out to the side comes Reese's Cup. Looks for the stun, can't land it. Straight up Merkin is here to provide some backup, but they're just gonna settle for the 1v1 trade.
So that was a beautiful response by Mercy Hawk. An instant teleport coming down as soon as they saw that Margarine had showed up. Unfortunately, he wasn't able to stop him from killing EMS, but managing to get that 1-for-1, definitely helping out his team. and keeping his eyes on the map.
So it's a little bit risky right now for Team World Class. They use the Explosive Clask. They don't really have much left in terms of ultimates. If they pick a fight, it's got to be away from that tower. They don't have any dive potential. And out goes Call of the Forge God. It might be Tweltch level Intellects looking to pick a fight instead. EMS 360 is starting to run low, but there's a lot of full health bars and 5 members there to bring the fight to Tweltch level Intellects if they choose to go forward with it.
So that Call of the Forge God was probably just used to scare away blue side from pushing forward towards their tower, because nobody was really in position to follow up on it too hard. However, now that some people have backed, they're looking to potentially tower dive here. Yeah, they summoned Scully. They want this tower.
Yeah, and this is going to be first tower blood. For the consolation, though, of Tweltch, not Tweltch, Team World Class, it is spread among 5 people, so it's not critical, but no! My goodness, out goes those grasping roots as well as the Stranglethorns. Comes up big, but it's not big enough just yet. Mercy gonna be the first one to fall. This is a huge pickup for the Tweltch level Intellects, but over the wall comes Reese's Cup, trying to find some redemption. Disarm, managed to get one on Hernandez. Teach looks to be the next one to fall, but they pick off Reese's Cup in time, and that is gonna be a full-blown ace coming out from the Tweltch level Intellects.
Not just an ace, but 3 towers coming down as well. They managed to get Shelly to take not 1, not 2, but 3 towers, and it looks like they're greeding out here and trying to take that inhibitor.
Oh, in the flip of a switch,
They got it.
This game gets absolutely turned on its head. All it took was one play, and they ran away with it. All thanks to Reese's Cup really going towards that mid side, showing up to provide backup late. It was far too late when he did return, because my goodness, an inhibitor off one push. How much better does it get?
Not much better. The team fight started out very heavily in blue side's favor. EMS landing a great root, a great ultimate, but unfortunately they were missing Reese's Cup involvement. They needed his ultimate in order to stop their auto attacks. Nearly every person on the enemy team requires auto attacking in some form or another in their kit, and missing out on his ability to stop that for a couple of seconds is crucial to how they managed to win that fight. Not only was it a 4v5, but they were missing a key ingredient to winning that team fight. And what a better lane to push than the bottom inhibitor. Baron is up. The bottom inhibitor is down. Super minions are going to be constantly pushing that. That's the furthest lane away from the Baron, so they're going to be able to pressure that extremely easily at this point, especially after that last fight, showing their dominance. They all backed. They got that gold on the field. They're pretty handedly ahead at this point.
Oh, most definitely. And the next Drake to spawn will be an Infernal. And look at that, positioning already coming out from the Tweltch level Intellects as they set up to take that quick and in a hurry. But straight up Merkin, he does want to get some vision there. He does not want to forfeit that Infernal. Infernal right there is pretty much free gold for any team fight you take it into. So it does look like a contest is going to come through. Call of the Forge God is popped. They find one and absolutely annihilate EMS 360 as straight up Merkin can only back off. Out goes the explosive cast, doesn't really get onto much. They want to find the redemption kill, can't quite get it. They are getting some team fight in, trying to knock away the black line, but the ultimate from Mercy absolutely gonna whiff. They do manage to get the shutdown on Marjorie. They even this out 1-for-1 in a very displaced fight for Tweltch level Intellects. It still gives them priority towards this Infernal, but straight up Merkin is not going to take that easily as he straight up decides to try and fight for this one. Mercy gonna fight as well. Allies Jop and Jungle want to take down Change, and they find Change! Reese's Cup is now here. 1-for-1 exchange thus far in the second half of this fight. They do find a double kill, taking down Reese's Cup as well. Mercy tries to run away, but that's a triple kill picked up by Itchy Rat, and as well as an Infernal Drake, one in that exchange.
Man, so that fight started out as like a 3v4, turned into like a 2v4. Reese's Cup managing to come back, but the bottom lane had been pushing in. Professor Chaos had to go and stop that. EMS ended up backing to help him stop that because it was pushing down on the Nexus towers. And they just didn't have the bodies there for that dragon fight, unfortunately. They did manage to pick up a kill onto Change, which was nice, but the collapse afterwards that came from the fallout there was just too much for them to overcome. And now Red side manages to pick up a Fire Drake, and they're starting to promenade around this Baron. They might be looking to bait something out there. Speaking of,
Oh, straight up, Merkin might be straight up dead. He is going to be able to run away from this one. Margarine has a way to go if he needs the damage to take out Merkin, but Merkin going to be able to survive, going for that tanky build, prioritizing the Spirit Visage first, really paying off in that case. But look at this. This is the Baron call coming out of the Tweltch level Intellects as they're straight up melting this thing. That's the power of an AP Kaisa. Call the Forge God looking to come out. Straight up Merkin over the wall. Can't get the steal. The Baron goes over to Tweltch level Intellects as well as the life of straight up Merkin. They want more though, but health bars are starting to get low. Professor Chaos able to take down one. Looking to find as much as he can to find redemption for his team. Itchy Rat critically low. That's the target you need to take down. And they find him slammed against the wall. Goes Tej. Damage coming out, but Tej brings the pain back. EMS on the backside running away from Margarine. Not gonna work out for you, friend. Called down by the Akali. Mercy, the last one remaining, hiding in the tower. Tej is gonna take it up. Set up Margarine for the alley-oop, and down goes Mercy. That's an ace picked up by 12th level Intellects.
so a decent show coming out of blue side there, trying to stop the Baron, trying to steal the Baron, and even managing to hem most of the opposing side inside of the Baron pit for a good portion of that fight. Unfortunately, they left EMS out to dry kind of in that last little bit of the fight, leaving him alone with Margarine. And Margarine just capitalizing on that, exploding him. Good lord.
I feel like one of the key things there was Professor Chaos, his hesitation to go after Itchy Rat. He took quite a bit more damage when he could have just gone straight for Itchy Rat and taken him out earlier, who was already below about a 1/3 threshold.
Yeah, but when you're a squishy ADC and you see an Ornn about to clap you in front of your face, you kind of tend to just try and back off instead of committing to that kill you see before you. We do see a pause coming down here, though.
Yeah, we'll try and find out why that pause is happening in just a second, but so far, 12th level Intellects, they've been looking pretty good in this game, and it all started off that bot lane push, and now they got Baron, now they got a pretty strong gold lead at about 6k, and they're just looking to close this one out through brute force, and brute force is really, really working out for them given the comp they have.
Yeah, they currently have about a 6k gold lead here, and to further emphasize how good the Baron is for them, they still have two members with Baron. They have Tej and they have Margarine. Now their split push comp can come into play here because they do have Change, and they do have Margarine. Margarine has the Baron buff. They really only need to have Tej with the majority of their group, so they could set up a sort of a 1-3-1 or even a 4-1 with Margarine in, say, the bottom lane, forcing a potential push onto an open inhibitor, with the rest of the team pushing down either mid or top. Just because of how difficult it is to really pin down an Akali player, especially after her rework. I want to see them pull out a 1-3-1 though, with Tej, Itchy Rat, and Hernandez in the mid lane, Margarine in the top lane, and Change down in the bottom lane. What we're likely going to see though, because it has been working out with them so well so far, is that they're just going to group as 5 and push down mid lane. Mid lane still has all 3 towers up. They're going to want that gold. Even if the push doesn't end in a win for them, they're going to want that gold off the map and into their pockets.
Yeah, and I mean,
Meanwhile, oh, sorry.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, mid lane is the only tower they really need to take out to open up this map, and usually, mid lane's a priority tower. Instead, bot lane inhibitor, just like that. As soon as they get this mid lane tower, it's very, very risky for Team World Class, because now vision is completely in the hands of Tweltch level Intellects, and it becomes a very tricky battle, because you could say, hey, just ward, then you'll be fine, but actually getting out those wards is harder when you don't have any safe places to actually run to, like the mid lane tower.
This is true. This is true. So, coming out of the side of blue side, though, what they need to do to get back into this game, they really need to have a well drawn out team fight sort of plan here, right? They need to have the Poppy engage before Tej managed to. So they need to have Mercy engage before Tej manages to get off his Call of the Forge God. So that he can put up his circle that will prevent Tej from getting off the secondary part of his Call of the Forge God. Doing that will stop a lot of the CC potential coming out of Ornn. It will also manage to stop Margarine from potentially dashing onto somebody who he's going to explode. And just all in all, having Mercy up in front, disrupting a lot of the mobility and potential CC and team fighting coming out of their opponents. It's still very possible. We've seen them coming out of team fights ahead before, or even mostly even. None of these team fights, outside of what happened in the bottom lane, have been so incredibly in favor of the red side. So it's very possible that blue side manages to pull something out. Outside of Mercy getting that engaged, though, we have Merkin. Now, straight up Merkin has that displacement, his ultimate. If he manages to... Now, it's not going to be so useful on Ichirat. Ichirat can instantly get back into the fight with his ultimate, but if he manages to get it onto, say, Udyr or Ornn, they have more difficulty getting back into fights. So if he manages to displace them, it could go well. Margarine, however, can also get back into a fight very easily if he's landed the first part of his E, which allows him to... The secondary part just allows him to jump to the person he hit from anywhere across the map. Doesn't matter how far away he's thrown. And then you have Reese's. Again, the opposing side relies a lot on auto attacks. All it takes is a well-placed Reese's ultimate to stop a lot of damage coming out of the opponents for a good...
But Fight's going to go out. They're able to take up one for one exchange so far. They're actually going to turn this around. And despite being one man down, they eliminate 3 people, make it 4. Quadra kill picked up. Around the corner is Mercy Hawk. Do we see the penta kill? Change wants to make it happen as he chases Mercy down. Unable to get the bear slap. Quadra kill is good enough as they set their sights on these mid lane towers, knocking them up one by one, pushing forward, going after the inhibitor. Tej is knocked away, but that's not the damage that takes down these towers. It's gonna be Ichirat.
So they managed to blow up Margarine before the fight even really got a handle on. Margarine was probably the reason for the pause in the first place, who knows? But Mercy Hawk was not there for the fight. It turned into a 4v4, and Ichirat, I'm sorry, but he's got a lot of damage on his hands. He's 10-2 right now.
Yeah,
and it showed in that team fight. He managed to blow up Professor Chaos. He managed to blow up Reese's Cup. And when you're down 1 damage dealer, you still have a second.
And it also speaks to the raw power that Tweltch level Intellects have, that they can just power through being down their mid lane carry. You know, that's what happens when Kaisa makes it to 30 minutes and is doing quite well. We see the death cap is next on the list to be built, but caught out is Teach. The fight engagement onto Teach. Lots of damage falling through, but they're unable to get the kill. He's just too techy. Out goes Call, the Force God Mercy Hawk in the sights. 2 knocked up. They go after EMS, but instead they're able to take down Merc. And the damage just coming in, shot after shot, member after member, hitting the floor. Reese's Cup, too much for Team World Class as they look to end the game right here and right now.
And it looks like they are going to get that ending of the game right here, right now. They've got a wave coming in on the bottom side.
Oh, poor Mercy.
They don't even care about towers here. Look at that damage.
Yeah, they want to solidify the ace. Straight up Merkin is going to revive, but it's far too late. EMS up, Merkin's up. The game's already over, and Tweltch level Intellects, they're going to win this game and secure the 3rd place seed.
GG, Intellect. GG.
Yeah, and a hell of a turnaround this match had. It was so close between these two teams, and then out of nowhere, there we go. One team turns on and doesn't let off the gas pedal. Absolutely immense performance out of Tweltch.
Yeah, they just managed to get so much map pressure, so much gold pressure from that one single push, and it really snowballed the game from there. 3 towers and an inhibitor is nothing to scoff at, especially that early in the game.
And on that note, they do lock that 3rd place seed. I don't think there's any other way for that seed to be lost unless something chaotic happens. We can just pretty securely say that they will take the 3rd place spot. And that's not all the action we have for today. As you see on your screen, the Chosen 5 are going to look to take on the Dirty Diapers. Very close. 1 win and 1 loss separates these teams. We're going to get to that matchup when we return on Ascension Esports Elder League.
to hold our heads up high and beat the drum to what we love. Risk the fall, or we have felt it all come crashing down from far above. Stars are rising, countless worlds colliding, only one will take it all. Can we bring to fall the giants? Can we make the final call? We are the ones to ignite the darkened skies, the champions of the world that we defy. A solo ride of the few who rise up high, and we all fight at the last
And we are back, ladies and gentlemen. Ascension Esports Elder League week number 9. As you can see on your board, there has been a schedule change. It is now Team World Class taking on Parkinson Alpha, their first time showing up on the stream. Bless them. 4-13. They can't make it to playoffs, but you know they can go out in pretty much a blaze of glory.
What a wonderful blaze it'll be. They'll have the 420, they'll have the blaze it, they'll have all that swag going on.
Ooh, careful, my friend.
Sorry, bad memes.
We are getting
Bad
into
taste
game
in my
now.
mouth.
No load necessary, thanks to, luckily enough, being able to pick this game up just in time. We are hitting the Rift, and yeah, unfortunately, we didn't get to go through the draft, but Oren, Bran, Aurelia, Ash, Sejuani on the side of Team World Class. Meanwhile, Parkinson Alpha taking the Shen, Jax, Zillion, Jinx, and Janna.
So, there seems to be a fight going on.
Oh, Oh no, Prophet Ticos! What are you doing, friend? That's first blood going over to support EMS 360.
Oof. I was about to go into a little bit about what the team compositions would mean, and then all of a sudden, action!
Oh my goodness. Yeah, I mean, if you want to play spoiler, this is your last match of the season to do it. Try and take down one of the top teams. This team just got knocked down a peg. They're at 4th place, so why not knock them down 2 pegs? You don't start it off by doing that.
Well, Reese's is now on the opposite end. Last game, his opponent was the one with first blood, and now he's the one with first blood. So he's probably sitting pretty, feeling good about himself.
To be fair, though, I have to admit I was not that impressed with the Relia of Reese's, but in this case, it's working out quite well. Propheticos having a good time taking on this matchup. You know, a lot of that you do have to give to the Akali versus Aurelia matchup.
Oh, my bad. EMS has first blood, not Reese's.
He's got an assist.
Yeah, he's got an assist. So getting into the team comps and what everybody is sort of looking for on either side. So looking at the side of Worlds, right? Blue side, they have really strong engage again, really strong long range engage. They have that Ash arrow. They have Ornn's Call of the Forge God. They have Merkin, whose Glacial Prison is also pretty long range. But on top of that, they're able to follow up as well. Call of the Forge God can go out, followed by an immediate Glacial Prison as soon as the knockup is over. Or they could even go with Ash Arrow into Call of the Forge God into Glacial Prison. There's a lot of potential in that area. Excuse me. Meanwhile, on the side of Red, they have more peeling, more con in the top lane.
Yeah, Mercy flashing just in time to get away. But while you're talking about all that peel and stuff, one thing that
So Ram has an AoE taunt. He can pull off Professor Chaos. He can pull off Reese's Cup. And he can pull off any tanks who manage to get onto his carries as well. Providing that he's tanky enough to absorb all of that damage.
But a gank in the mid lane. Prophet Ticos, you're not having a good day, friend. That's another death for him. 100% death participation. You stat.
Oh, ooh, too soon, too soon. Man has a family.
One thing that kind of irks me right now is seeing that Shockwave has gone for the Ignite on Jonon. What's relatively a safer lane where you rather just play passive and get the Jinx to farm up rather than go for the kill, because you're not going to beat an Ashe Brand lane that absolutely just pumps out damage like there's no tomorrow. On top of that, that's a Jax jungle. It doesn't exactly really start to turn on early, and feels kind of awkward.
Well, it looks like Red side here is really pumping out for the late game, so to speak, as Ram, unfortunately, is biting off more than he can chew.
Ooh. But he does have a teammate around the corner. Mercy has to run away from this one, able to get the slow, but cutting off the pathing. Mercy Hawk has a long way to go from home. Sigs never lose. Wants to make this work out, but he's gonna try and turn it around. It works as he gets the 1-for-1 exchange. Mercy Hawk, great play.
Yeah, that was
Special.
a little questionable to see happening, but well played coming out of Mercy Hawk, getting an exchange instead of just going down. But yeah, going back to Red side's sort of team composition here, they have a lot of protection I'm sorry.
You might not be able to go back to that. EMS trying to run away from this one. Heal is going to save EMS, and Professor Chaos, one more auto should do it. Double kill picked up for him, and that is that power we were talking about the Ashe Brand bot lane.
Yeah, a lot of harass, a lot of poke, and a lot of burn damage. It looks like Sigs never lose, looking for some kills here, potentially.
Yeah, he's trying to get something to work, but can't get the counter-strike. Might be able to get the kill regardless. One more auto should do it. That's the shutdown as well as a kill picked up for Sure J. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, Chrono Shift is going to go out, keeping Propheticos alive and well despite the gank. And overall, there is some redemption coming out of Parkinson Alpha.
Yeah, despite the Chrono Shift coming out nearly at full HP, it was used mainly to deter them from going in on the tower dive, knowing that if they managed to burn through that full health bar, as Reese's Cup getting engaged on here.
Yeah, double bomb's not going to land though. Reese's Cup flashing away, straight up Merkin here to get in some damage, but just to chase off the attack on the mid laner. It is going to be successful though, and they're starting to see Sure J start to turn on. As he attacks this tower, gets a little bit of priority working for him at last.
Alright, so now that we're in a bit of downtime, if they will allow me to go into what their team composition has potential for, which we might not get to see as Merkin is coming up to help Mercy here.
The fight never ends. We said it was going to be a fiesta. Ram gets caught out, stunned up, and slammed to the ground. There it goes. Mercy Hawk picks up the kill. Meanwhile, on the bot side, EMS 360 gets dropped to Sigs Never Die. Professor Chaos can do nothing but watch his fallen teammate, watch the grave of his fallen teammate as they stomp all over it.
So definitely a lot of action being thrown about on either side of the map. If one jungler is in the top lane, the other jungler is in the bottom lane. If one shows in the mid lane, that was cool.
And we still can't get a poor point over for Rudy, as kills are going all over the place. Great kill to come out of Reese's Cup, able to get that dash in over the wall, taking out Sigs Never Lose.
Now, the dash had actually started before he went over the wall, but it followed him through over the wall because he didn't close the distance yet. Now, not all dashes work like that, but it appears that Irelia's does. Other champion dashes like Alistar, his headbutt will take you to where they were instead of where they're going to be, but it looks like Irelia's will take you to wherever they're going to be as long as you're still in that animation.
Not like this. Reese's Cup gets chunked out massively. Sub 200 health, is going to be able to survive, but crucial misstep there.
Yeah, getting stunned under tower while it's pounding away at you. Just unfortunate. It does force him out of the lane. That's going to allow Propheticos to come back a little bit into this game. But mostly when it comes to a Zilean, it's more about what he offers his team as opposed to what he's capable of doing by himself. His only real damage source is those double bombs. But that AoE potential stun mixed with his ability to revive a teammate to near full HP is going to be a huge...
Here comes the rebuttal, and it's absolutely massive. Stand United gonna go all out, but it's not gonna protect Shockwave much longer. In fact, it might condemn Ram to the same fate as this bot lane as he's able to try and juggle under the tower. How much longer can he do it? Straight up Merkin wants to go in and possibly take him down. Instead, they're gonna settle for the tower, and Stand United has them divided as it sends Parkinson Alpha to the grave.
So Ram trying to follow up and save his teammates from the potential dive. Unfortunately, Merkin, straight up Merkin his opponents as he goes in for the dive, followed by Professor Chaos's arrow. They managed to lock down Surej just so quickly, that not even Shockwave was able to save her from the incoming damage and push them away from really jumping down on them.
Yeah, and that chain of damage was absolutely immense. Surge just destroyed in a heartbeat. Stand United and the shield that comes out from Shockwave wasn't enough to stop it as well. Almost Ram almost fell in that whole process as well. So tough lane. Lots of damage provided from Team World Class. and they're looking to make sure they end this season on a win.
The thing is, though, is that Worlds has to be very careful as, again, there's a fight going on in the
Yeah, be very careful. They don't care about being careful. They just want to take the fight straight to them. They aren't going to pick up a kill, but they burn 2 flashes in the process, as well as a stopwatch out of Shockwave.
Oof. So, what Worlds has to be careful of here is regarding Red Side reaching that late game potential. They have a Jax, they have Shen who's capable of peeling, they have a Jinx who reaches absurd amounts of attack speed in the later stages of the game.
Yeah, there we go again. Glacial Prison gonna go out. Lots of damage on the Shockwave. It'll get a pretty good tornado. Profetico is here, throws out the bombs. Not going to find its target, but does dissuade the pursuit of an attack from Team World Class.
Yeah. So that was more of a zoning Sejuani ultimate, you know? Yeah, I thought she stole it too, but it looks like Sigs Never Loses managed to secure it. But they do manage to pick up that Cloud Drake, which is going to help Sejuani immensely getting around the map. She is rather slow, despite it being on a bear.
A bear, a pig, a man. Man, bear, pig. All of the above.
Wait, Udyr's in the game now? Get that man, bear, pig out of here.
Yeah, all being said, though, this is about a 5k lead in favor of this Team World Class squad. They're really working well in the early game, and if you check the CS scores, a lot of this does come down to Reese's Cup, who is not only ahead in CS, but is ahead in kills. Just absolutely dominating, as well as a little bit of a lead coming out of Professor Chaos. That Blade of the Rune King is finished, so you are going to start to see that damage really start to spike out from Professor Chaos. Surge still has to go through that process of picking up the Storm Razor before he can really get any significant damage in. But Sig Never Loses. He went a little bit too far forward, tried to stop the Scuttle Crab. Out goes the Stand United. It will not stop the death of Sigs, and instead is going to send Ram to the same place. The Fountain Brothers headed there together. Meanwhile, off screen, Shockwave gonna fall in the process as well, and this tower in the top lane all up for grabs for Team World Class.
So we're seeing wonderful rotations coming out of Team World Class here. They put the bottom lane into the top lane after taking that tower. They put their top lane in the bottom lane. They're really sending a lot of pressure all over the map here. We're not seeing a huge amount of sort of ward coverage coming out, but it seems to be just enough that they see what routes people are taking and are able to head them off at certain junctures.
Yeah, they're doing a beautiful job of it, catching them out in rotation, and even then, Sigs, that wasn't a mistake. That wasn't an overplay coming out of Team World Class. That was just Sigs getting greedy for a scuttle. Come on now.
Well, I don't think it was about him getting greedy for a scuttle. I think he just pathed a little too closely to that entrance while Merkin and Reese's just happened to be in the area, and as soon as they saw him, they jumped him. Because I do think Sigs was pathing towards mid lane. He wasn't actually looking to that scuttle at the time.
Who knows? Maybe we got to get an interview and ask him ourselves.
Hmm.
You never know nowadays. But
Gotta
yeah,
get into the minds of the players.
let the players tell us what they were doing.
You need like a Ouija board for some of these plays, though.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
Oh,
like this Ignite that I was talking about earlier. I still don't understand it, but still the push is going to go forward. It would be a waste if Shelly were to land onto this. Fortunately, they do kill it in time. Now Shelly going to push forward, a lot of damage onto Profetica, who gets CC locked for days, forced to use the Chrono Shift. It is going to pop Call of the Forge God, not going to go off and land. Instead, we are going to see the fall of Shockwave, the fall of Sigs Never Lose. The aggression is just too much as Team World Class looks to end this in a very hasty finish as they set their sights towards this inhibitor tower.
So it looks like they're trying to answer last game's detriment of a 3-tower push with their own 3-tower push this game.
Yeah, they definitely are answering. Chrono Shift is not there, and neither are 3 members of Parkinson Alpha, and neither is his inhibitor as well. As Team World Class just goes on a rampage and annihilates the base of Parkinson Alpha.
This is a huge hurdle for the red side to try and overcome here. It's almost insurmountable at this point unless a lot of things start going into their favor. They need to find Professor Chaos and EMS all by their lonesome in order for Sigs Never Lose, Ram, and Surej to be on top of that, to get out the damage, to kill them before any sort of fight happens up. Either that, or they need to find a lone Mercy Hawk or a lone Merkin, just so that they can start to find a foothold in this game. Otherwise, unfortunately, they're going to start grouping into a different side lane, and what happened in the mid lane is going to happen there too. I would like to see Blue Side Worlds to group up in the bottom lane to do this again. Baron's going to be up in about 3 minutes. That's going to be a very important objective for them to go after. And if they manage to push down the bottom side towers and inhibitor, that's going to be huge for them. That's going to be a lot of pressure on the map. And it's going to pull enemies away from the Baron pit so that they can take it more freely.
And then one thing to look at as well is item builds. Professor Chaos has 2 items now. Surge just barely bought the Storm Razor. That's how ahead he is, about 3k gold ahead. So it's going to be a while before Surge turns on, and Professor Chaos is very, very much alive as it is at the moment. Meanwhile, Sigs Never Lose, he's trying to get that Trinity Force, only has 1 component of it. Meanwhile, 2 finished items once again coming from straight up Merkin. This is way too difficult for Parkinson Alpha to deal with if they are to take a straightforward fight.
And here it is. You see they're all grouping down in the bottom lane, 5 versus 5. However, Sigs has to go to that mid lane to stop the super minions, and we're seeing them pressure this tower because of it.
Ooh, they almost get the stun lock on straight up Merkin. Takes quite a bit of damage from that tower. If that stun lock landed, who knows what would have happened there. They're trying to defend this tower, but Parkinson Alpha, I think at this point, you got to get out of dodge, because your inner towers are pretty much forfeit. The longer this goes on, the higher chance you go with them.
Well, things aren't looking all too bad for them. They have a wave in the top side, as it looks like they're going for a peeling ultimate. Doesn't look like an engaging ultimate.
Ooh, it could have been. Glacial Fisher was there. Call the Forge God did land on the Surge, but they didn't want to follow through with it. Instead, they were just happy with that tower, as he said. Peel him off, take the tower, get going to the dragon.
It's going to be a second Cloud Drake, allowing them to rotate even faster across this map and have more in-combat move speed.
Yeah, at this point, get the 3rd Cloud Drake, get an Elder Drake, and get ready to go Sonic. Fortunately, it's an Ocean Drake next. Sad as me.
Oh.
We can dream, my friend. We can dream. But this is one of the things that Cloud Drake is pretty good at. Once everyone recalls, you're getting back to lane even faster. That's one of the underestimated things about Cloud Drake.
Oh, yeah. Everybody looks at Fire Drake for this damage. They look at Mountain Drake for that objective taking, tower damage, and Ocean Drake for sieging potential and sustain all around. But then there's Cloud Drake. Getting that rotation, getting back on the map faster, and just being faster in general when you're fighting because it has that in-combat move speed.
Yeah, I mean, why fight when you can just go fast, you know? And speaking of going fast, Team World Class looking to close out this game quite quickly as they set their sights towards this top lane inner. And set a pincer onto Sig Never Loses, who's gonna lose his life. Flashes over the wall, but where do you have to go but to the loving arms of Professor Chaos?
In the arms of the Ash.
And with him down, that could be Baron.
That is Baron, as they all move towards it. They have no smite. 2 of them are in the mid lane. Propheticos is actually heading to the bottom lane because Mercy Hawk is forcing a wave in there. This is a very free Baron, unless Janna
The God Rocket.
or...
Oh. Yeah, it's pretty over.
Yeah.
I was hoping for that God Rocket. It would have made things interesting, but you actually got to land it. Just like that Ash
They're
Arrow
not
is going to
done.
land. And knocked up, destroyed! What Shockwave? They're going after Sure. Glacial Prison going to land. Absolutely annihilated. Rum is going to be the next one to fall. And with 3 down on a long-range engage, this looks to be game for Team World Class.
They saw the opportunity, they took it. They were going to back after taking that Baron, but seeing Shockwave and Surej walking through the jungle as Mercyhawk is collapsing in on them, Professor Chaos put on his teacher's cap and was like, I got this, mate.
Absolutely schooled, but Sig never lose. Gonna look to lose his life one more time. Falls to Reese's Cup. The auto is pouring in onto Shockwave. Fortunately for him, Chrono Shift did go out. Surej is now back up. I believe that's how you say the name. And it's gonna be enough to deter Team World Class from stopping this game a little bit too early. They chase the team away. Prophetica, be careful, friend. That Chrono Break is no longer up. They're still pushing forward, though. If we take a look, Call of the Forge God still on cooldown. About a quarter left for it to come back up. They're still going forward, though. It's a very risky thing to do, just wanting to stop the recalls, but at this point, you got to protect your base.
Yeah, there's a very large wave up in the top lane. That's going to be a lot of gold being taken off of the map just because of the tower. They lost a huge wave in the bottom side because it crashed under tower. And all for just stalling out the opponent's back.
You gotta be kidding me! The arrow lands flush on the Shockwave. Now Mercyhawk, he's tanky, he's a big boy. You know he's willing to fight this one out, flashing away from the blast plant. EMS is now here. Ram, what you doing, mate? There's nowhere else to run. Sent to the grave. And now with 2 down, caught out is Surge. Goodbye, my friend. Double kill picked up by EMS 360. And now, finally, Team World Class, they're going to end it on a high note. They're going to take this victory and be happy with that 4th place seed. As Sigs never lose, you're going to have to taste defeat once more. Parkinson Alpha get taken down 23 minutes into this game.
Well, Sigs is looking for one last fight.
He's trying. You got to give him credit.
Credit where credit's due.
Yeah, he put up a fighting last stand. Unfortunately, that is quite literally his last stand because Parkinson Alpha, they don't make it to playoffs. They put up a good fight, but that's gonna end their run here in Elder League.
But, you know, they put up a decent fight at least, especially towards the end. Unfortunately, Worlds just really showcasing why they were potentially capable of having that 3rd seed last time.
Yeah, they look like a high-level team, and they put on a pretty good display, absolutely dismantling Parkinson Alpha. And hats off to them. They did put up a fight, but over time, just the coordinated play that came out of Tweltch, not Tweltch, I'm sorry, Team World Class was just beautiful.
Oh, most definitely. Most definitely. And those were the CC ultimate combos that I was talking about earlier. We especially got to see that showcased onto the Janna Shockwave at the very end there. Ash Arrow from downtown, followed by Orn's Call of the Forge God, into the Clappening.
The Clappening. I like it. I like it a lot. On that note, we are going to start closing out here. To give you an idea of how things are going in the standings, OE Midnight, mind you, 16-2. They're going to be very happy in that 1st place seed. The Finest looking to go 14-4, taking the 2nd place seed. Tweltch level Intellects currently taking on Emergent Feeders. If they win that, they secure the 3rd place seed for good. And meanwhile, Team World Class, they do get that 4th place seed, unless Tweltch loses, and then they go to a tiebreaker. And then the last 2 teams, of course, Blaze Banditos. going for the 5th place seed. And Emergent Feeders, possibly another tie on their hands. If they're able to beat the Tweltch level Intellects, they will go on a tie for that 5th place seed, currently on the 6th seed. All that matters is Emergent Feeders versus Tweltch level Intellects. That game's still going on, so be sure to check out the Discord to find out the results of that game and see who goes on and who goes to tiebreakers. But for now, this is going to do it for Here on the Desk. It's been a pretty good day, hasn't it been, Rudy?
I liked it. It's been pretty good. Gotta admit.
Yeah, so any closing statements, my friend?
For those who won, keep at it, and
keep
for
it
those
on.
who lost, take it on a chin and get them next time.
Yeah, and once again, thank you for joining us on such short notice, Rudy. And for here at Ascension Esports, Elder League, week number 9, I've been Desrux. This has been Rudy. Thank you for joining us, and be sure to tune in next week as we hit the Dragon League playoffs. Thank you for joining.